Hello, dear soul. My name is Kate Harmony, and welcome to the Lightbearers Library. In today's journal entry, I want to talk about something that came up for me yesterday when I received a comment that said something along the lines of, "Thank you for validating my perspective." And it made me start thinking about how we look to others to validate what she said. Well, I'm assuming it was a lovely woman, but what she said was her intuition had been telling her this, and that she'd kind of been noticing that, and then thanked me for validating that. And I thought that's really wonderful that I could validate someone to follow their own intuition, but I think it's something that we need to start thinking about for ourselves, about how much attention and need for validation we kind of place outside of ourselves and look to the outside world, whether that's family members, colleagues, social media feeds, whatever it is, to sort of say, yes, you're, liking of that thing, or you're wanting to do that thing, or whatever it is a good thing or a bad thing or whatever, instead of kind of shutting everyone and everything out and just sitting and listening to our own voice within us. And I'm kind of thinking about this as our own inner authority. I love that word, authority, because within that word is the word author. And, we're on the Lightbearers Library, and I love books, and maybe you do too. And I think we can start thinking about ourselves as authors, the authors of our own lives, taking on that authority. And I think, this is something that's so important, because however you want to think about it, we can think about it as our own soul that's speaking to us, our own intuition. It could be if, you believe in God or source or the universe, whatever it is, it's like that's inside of us. There is a unique perspective. And I like to think about it as that, that we all wear individual glasses, that we see the world differently from every single other person that's alive right now, will be alive in the future, was alive in the past. We are totally, totally unique. And so we need to really, bring this to the fore and kind of like really validate ourselves and our own perspective, and kind of like trust ourselves to like the things that we like and not like the things that we don't like. If you think about it, that our unique soul, I'll talk about it as soul, but our soul, we notice things about the world that other people don't notice, and we don't notice things or see things as important that other people might think is important. And that's wonderful, right? We all have unique perspectives. And I think if we all just followed that inner voice, that inner guidance of our soul, of our intuition, right, whatever, the world would just blossom, because we'd all be sharing our unique perspective, our unique gifts. And so I would recommend that you spend a little bit of time thinking about this, thinking about maybe what's one thing in your life where you're feeling like, oh, I just want to do that thing, but nobody else around me is doing that, or nobody else would validate me doing that, or whatever. I'm here. I'll validate you. Do it. Whatever that thing is. But yeah, really take ownership for building authority in your life, seeing yourself as the author, writing your own story. And I would recommend reading or listening to the essay by Ralph Waldo Emerson called Self-Reliance. He wrote it in 1851, and everyone should read it like it was written today. The language is slightly older, but we can all take so many things from it. I've listened to it a few times over the last couple of years, and it's really, really shocking in a lot of ways of how just self-reliance is so not how we're used to living our lives. We kind of follow and we kind of see what other people are doing, and we don't kind of step out and be an individual and say, I don't care what y'all think. I'm gonna wear this, whatever, tie-dye shirt and, rock it, like just whatever it is, or I'm going to write that book, or, but in it, I was listening to it this morning. So, and in it, he said these two things that really struck me. So I wrote them down. And one was, envy is ignorance. So envy, when we're envying other people, or we're jealous, or we're looking at other people and what they're doing and thinking, oh, well, maybe I should do that. It's like, or everybody's doing that, so I should do that. Oh, that's the worst reason to do anything ever, right? It's always the thing, like, so if everyone else is jumping off a bridge, should you? No, right? But it's like the ignorance part of that is that we're in ignorance of our own special uniqueness, our own special perspective on the world, that we are ignoring our individual self. So when we're envious, it's like we're not actually just being true to our own authority and our own individuality. The other thing that he said was, imitation is suicide. Whoa, right? Imitation. So when we're imitating others, when we go, ooh, like that's popular, or, everybody's going to that restaurant or eating that food or doing that thing, I should do that. It's like, is that something that you actually want to do, or are you just doing it because everyone else is doing it? So the suicide part of that is that it doesn't allow for a flourishing of our own soul, our own intuition, right? Our own perspective, when we're constantly kind of, imitating other people in what they wear, in what they, do, and whatever. It's kind of, it crushes our soul a little bit every time we do that, because we're not being true to ourselves. So I think we should, kind of grow and build our authority and our self-authorship, and validate ourselves and encourage ourselves to be our own unique individual self. And I think we'll start to feel freer and more passionate for life, because we'll be living our life, that we were born here on this planet. We've got one life, one precious life. Well, who knows? Maybe we had other lives, and we will have, other lives in the future. I don't know, but we're here right now, and that's all we can guarantee and know. And we don't know how many days are left in this life, and we need to cherish them and, love them. So that's my thoughts for today. I would love to hear from you in the comments about, if this resonated with you, or if you're an introvert and a little bit shy, give me a thumbs up. And watch this playlist here, where I kind of have curated some of my videos on the Light Bearers Library and what it is and what you can expect to find here. And I'd love to have you join me here in the Light Bearers Library. Okay, well, I'm wishing you many, many blessings today. Signing off for now. XOXO, Kate.